Hey y'all, it's your girl Ange, back again. Woo woo. So I told y'all that the next video was gonna be like about the job hunting process, and the steps I took, job interview tips as best as I can be, and yeah. All right, so I did get a nurse practitioner job. I'm going to be working at the location that I work as a bedside nurse, just in a different role, and just hired under a different company, but for the same hospital, if that makes sense. So I'm excited about that. I did start the job search process fairly early. So my last semester was the fall of 2020, which means graduating in December. I started to look for jobs and apply for jobs about September. And honestly, in Texas, it's a big on the medical field, but at the time, because of Corona, there weren't a lot of job openings for a new grad. Basically, is what I'm saying. Like there are a lot of positions and opportunities, but at the time of me searching, there weren't a lot of job openings for a new grad. With that being said, by new grad, what I mean is obviously new graduate. But why that is important is because as a new grad, like you've never worked as a nurse practitioner, a neonatal nurse practitioner. Therefore, you don't have any experience except from clinical, and that honestly isn't enough. With that being said, and every facility, every area, all that is different. But for me, my mindset, and everyone's different, and this is not to say that this should be your mindset or whatnot, but Angel's mindset was that as a new grad, I want to be able to have someone that I can fall back on. Like, of course, I want to know my stuff. I'm going to learn and be the best, etc. But I also want to know that I'm not alone. And I'm not to say that even in the community hospitals and the smaller units, you are alone, because you really are never alone. You always have a team. But I say that by saying, some facilities, their attendings go home and they're just on call. So if an emergency breaks out while you're the nurse practitioner there on your 24-hour, however long shift, it's your responsibility. And it's always your responsibility, but like it's solely your responsibility. So what you don't know how to do, you better know how to do it that moment. So with that being said, my mindset is that, I want to work in a teaching facility, a bigger hospital where we know that the attendings or fellows are there at all times, so that I can always have that person to lean on, plus at least other nurse practitioners are there as well, So I was looking for like a bigger unit where I know, we have that, at least until I learn and get the experience and get comfortable, get your feet wet. As y'all know, even as bedside nurses, you imagine being by yourself. Like we, even still today, especially in the neonatal field, we're still learning, we're still growing every day, no matter what. And I've been a nurse for almost 6 years. So yes, I feel more confident than I felt 5 years ago, but at the same time, there's always room to grow, always room to learn. And I wanted that support system to help me learn, to help me grow, to help me become a great neonatal nurse practitioner. So that's what I mean. I say there wasn't a lot of opportunities in that sense. Now, if you are looking, there could have been community, but I wasn't looking for community hospitals, so I wasn't trying to be thrown to the wolves yet. So I started applying in September. I think I applied for 4 different locations at that time. I heard back from 3, but I had 2 interviews at that time. So one was, I did my clinicals at 2 different locations. So both of them, one was the job I work at, plus I did my clinicals there, and then the other one was where I did my clinicals at. So being that it's Corona and everything, the interview process was pretty much virtual. I'm not sure if that's how it's going to be now or in the near future. Things are changing every day. But at that time, the first interview was virtual, and they usually do a few interviews. So I'll just talk about both of them. So they both were like on a Zoom, and it was several nurse practitioners on the interview for both of them. And there are 2 different interviews though, like completely. One of them was scenario based. So name a time when you had to face a difficult situation and how did you deal with it? Or name a time when you dealt with a difficult parent and how did you deal with it? Or name a time you had to be a leader in a situation and what step did you take to be that leader? That was one interview. And then the other interview was pretty much straightforward to the point, like why do you want to be a nurse practitioner? What assets, like how can we benefit from having you here? What inspires you? Things like that. So one, the scenario based, you kind of do want to kind of prepare for, because sometimes it's a scenario that you honestly never have faced. So then you got to think, well, what would I do in that situation? Something like that. Or you just, because in the middle of an interview, you can't think on your hands. Like for me, with that one, the scenarios, I was like, I was trying to think on my feet, not on your hands, think like quickly on my feet. But like when I finished it, I was like, dang it, I should have said that, or I should have said that scenario. Like I started really thinking about the other scenarios. So that was for that one. And then for the other one, I felt so comfortable. It was like stuff that I already knew. Like, you know why you want to be a nurse practitioner. You know what inspires you. You know, like, obviously to have come this far, you have to kind of know what guided you that way. And so that interview for me was like easy. Like, I didn't have to prepare for it. I didn't have to think twice about my answers. It was just like easy. So don't not prepare. Always look up like interview questions, and then type of questions they'll ask you. Maybe practice in a mirror, practice with somebody. Just prepare. I did that. I practiced in a mirror. How would I answer this question? Then I was practicing randomly with my fiance, like all that. But also think of good questions that you want to ask. And I think I saw on Facebook someone was asking, like, what are good interview questions that you ask? And you have to think, like, what is your goal? So for me, some of the questions that I wanted to know, and it was harder. I didn't really have a lot of questions because I work at one facility, and the other facility I did clinicals at, so I kind of have an idea. But obviously, if you don't know, it's not gonna always be like that. So like, what's the orientation process? Like, how long are we on orientation? What is a day like for the nurse practitioners? Like, how does rounds look? Do the nurse practitioner present in rounds, or do the nurses present in rounds, or do the doctors present in rounds? Like, you want to know. Another question I had was the level of autonomy, because the levels vary. Again, we're nurse practitioners, so we always are under like a doctor, physician, or we're not attending fellow. But like, what is the level of autonomy when it comes to making decisions for the patients? Do you always have to consult with the attending before making a decision, like with every single decision? Or is there like, we're teamwork based, where they work together, put their heads together and make a decision together? Or is it just the attending says, hey, put this order in, and you put the order in and that's it? Like, what level of autonomy does the facility offer? Your hours. There are different. Are we doing 12s? Are we doing 24s? Are we doing 4 10s? Like, every facility is different, so you want to know the hours and the scheduling process. Do we get to pick our own schedule? What's our chance, especially if you have children or a lot of other things going on? You want to know what's my chance of me actually getting what I want to be scheduled? What's the holiday schedule like? How do you guys pick? Those are some of the questions that you want to ask. Obviously, you want to ask about the pay and the benefits. Those are very important questions that you want to ask. You want to ask, first of all, one of the questions I had was mentorship. Like, a lot of times, and we dealt with this as bedside nurses, we felt like, we were being bullied, or we didn't have that support system. Not everywhere, not everybody, but there's times when some people may feel like uncomfortable to ask a question, or they ask a question and they get like negative feedback or negative pushback, so it makes you not want to ask a question again to that particular person. Like, what is the support system like? Is there mentoring? Is there mentoring offered? Are you guys supportive with understanding that I'm a new grad and I don't know everything, so I'm going to be asking questions and I want to learn? Like, you want to know that. Is there room for growth? Like, do you have other areas? Yes, I'm a nurse practitioner, but other areas or teams or activities or anything like that I can join to be able to collab and put my research and my knowledge out there as well, as far as like ideas. Procedures. You want to know who does the procedure. Every facility doesn't have, like, we have transport, line team, things like that. Every facility doesn't have that. Some facilities are smaller where the nurse practitioner is doing the UVC, UAC, all the PIC. Like, there's some things like that. And none of my clinicals did I ever, I learned because I was a student, so obviously they were like, hold that for my student, we're gonna put this UVC and UVC in. But other than that, like, they have teams that do those things. So you wanna know that, what's your ability to learn these procedures, and even if you do have a team, do I still have opportunity to learn? Those are some of the questions that I could think of already. And of course, in pay, you know, how much, benefits, how do the benefits work, time off, and things like that. So that's just some tips on preparing for the interview, preparing for the questions, practicing. Like I said, I heard from 3. One of the facilities, I didn't get an interview. They wanted my references, and I gave them my references, and then I never heard back. I kept reaching out to the lady, but I never heard back. It is a long process. Like I said, the first interview was virtual, but because I did my clinicals and worked at both of the facilities, I worked at one and did clinicals at the other. I didn't have to do the second portion. Like, they wanted me to do the second. Initially, they emailed like, hey, Joy, you have the second interview, which is coming on site, getting a tour, you talk to the different doctors. So be prepared to not only have one interview, and be prepared to not be with just one person, one-on-one. Be prepared to speak in front of a group. So if you want to practice interview in front of a group of people to make you more comfortable, because sometimes it's hard when you have 50 million people looking at you. It's kind of nerve-wracking. Obviously, they make the decision. I heard back from one facility pretty quickly that they didn't want me. They had chosen someone better with better experience as charge nurse and transport. So with that being said, it's not a requirement. I still got a job, and I have not had charge or transport experience. So don't feel like, especially while you're in school, that's a lot of training that's hard on top of already being in school. So don't feel like because you don't have that experience, if you don't, that you have to run and go get it. If anything, I precept it, but that's natural. It's like a best teacher, so I precept it. That could have helped me, but at the end of the day, it's based on your knowledge. It's based on how you present yourself at your clinicals. Kill it at your clinicals like it's your job interview. You don't want to show up at your clinicals like it's just another day, just another thing to do. You want to come in there professional. You want to have your uniform on, dress clean cut, your professional persona on. You want to be prepared to learn. Don't act like you know everything. Ask questions, no matter big or small. You're a student for a reason, so you're learning. So ask questions. Be eager to learn. If somebody offers you a procedure to come to, or a delivery, or if someone offers you an experience, take it. Don't say no. Don't say I've done that before. Don't say I've seen that before. Don't do that. Be eager, because this is your job interview. No, I'm not telling you to kiss butt, but I'm telling you kiss butt. Like, you need a job in the future. The NICU, neonatal nurse practitioner, is becoming saturated. Therefore, the competition is going to increase. So they're going to be charged, and people with charge and transport experience next to you, like it was next to me. But don't let that discourage you or make you feel like you don't know your stuff and you're not smart enough. You still know your stuff. You still know your knowledge. You learned the same thing that charge transport nurse learned. Yeah, you may need a little bit more training, but that don't make you not qualified for that position. So with that being said, don't let that make you feel the type of way. Don't make that like you need to go do it. Like I said, and then I didn't hear from the job that I actually got hired with until 2 months after. They were still interviewing other candidates, and I actually found out on my birthday, which is like a blessing. So also be patient, because God's timing is His timing for a reason. And so that was the steps there. And then once you get hired, it's a whole nother process. So once you take your boards with the NCC, you get your certification, but you're still not eligible to practice yet, because you still need your license for your state. So you have to go through your state board of nursing and send them the required documents. So after graduation, honestly, if I were you, go to your state board of nursing website and look at the requirements to apply for that license for that field, nurse practitioner in our case, but whatever, any other people may be watching it, so whatever field it may be in. For Texas Board of Nursing, we had to mail certain things and have like a form filled out. So I started send what you can immediately, because once they have everything, once they start getting things on this after you apply and send what you can immediately, they start checking off the boxes, and then they're just waiting. So right now they're just waiting for my certification from when I passed my boards. I already sent it. Now it just takes them a few weeks to like say they got it, and so it's just one thing. Versus if I had waited until I took my boards to send everything, and they still only get one because I had to mail my transcript through the mail. I had to do this online. I had to email. It comes to them in different ways from different people, so they don't get everything all at one time either way. So it's better to have just do what you can when you can. That way, when it's down to the end, like right now, you're just waiting for one thing, and then you can get your license number. So that's number one. And then with the job, so once I got hired, I had to do like the pre-screening, onboarding. You guys, it's all the same stuff that you do everywhere you go, especially if you're working in a bedside, which you are. So they want like your immunization records. They want they want to do a health screen, which I'll tell you about that in a second. But it really was just my immunization records. They want your flu shot, which goes with the immunization records. Drug test and background check, and then like filling out paperwork and stuff like that. So that, like, I did that. I was doing that while I was studying for my boards, and it was a lot. And I honestly thought that was it, y'all. So my advice to you is to start getting your stuff, whatever stuff you use to get the job you work at now and to get into school, because you need all that to do clinicals, all that stuff, put it in a folder and just have it so that when it's time for your job and to prepare for your job, you can just have it and send it to them or take it to them or give it to them, and everything is already there. They want your license, like, I think I had to do 2 forms of identification. I just used my passport, but if you have a birth certificate, you can, like, whatever you may need. Have all that together. I'm so organized, and I'll show y'all. I have like a man with all my stuff already, and then I already have copies in my email, so it was really easy to get that stuff sent to them. The next step is credentialing. Everywhere, you have to be credentialed. You have to have your DEA, like things that you need, but basically DEA is your license to prescribe medications. And that's a whole process as well. So be prepared to do all those things. But get your references now. I didn't have a reference letter, but it doesn't hurt, and it actually boosts you. So if you want to get a reference letter, I do recommend that. But on top of that, reach out to the people that you're going to use as your references now. Let them know, like, I'm going to use you as my reference, and get their address and their email address, and of course have their phone number, so that you can already just have that information and you're not waiting when it comes time to filling out papers. So now I'm just kind of waiting I need my license number to do my DEA and all the other things. So I'm just waiting for that, but I'm not due to start until almost May. But one more other thing I wanted to show you guys when it comes to preparing for the job is make copies of everything. Everything, make copies of. So I got this little folder from Target. It was actually on sale. And it was on sale. I still got the tag on there. Anyways, and it's like a little folder, but then it has 13 different pockets, so you can put your stuff in. So I just make copies of stuff. I have I made a copy of the packet for the credentialing that's in here, and then I have like my transcript. I got 2 transcripts from my school by accident, but it still works out. I have my transcript in there just in case they need it, just in case my job needs it. And then I have my NCC certification license in here. Anyways, and my resume, I don't have a physical copy because everything I did was virtual. But if you have a physical copy, have it there. Just have all your paperwork for work. You can start using this for your tax forms and all that stuff. That way, you just have everything is there, accessible for you. Now, just preparing up for the job. I haven't started yet because I've really just been enjoying my life and just getting back focused on me. But now I'm going to start working on things to prepare leading up to the job, which is going to be a whole nother vlog, and I'll show it to you guys. I just wanted to kind of give you some tips. Also, always be professional. Just other interview tips that we all know. It still stands. Just because it's 2021, people forget that, and they think it's okay to do all the things that we're doing now. You still want to look professional, be professional. So, wear your best dressed professional outfit. I guess some people wear scrubs, and I don't think that that's a problem. I'm not sure, but I just dress I like to dress anyway. So I wear my professional outfit, studded earrings, no hoops, no crazy outlandish makeup, not showing cleavage. Little bit I have or anything, or short skirt or anything like that. It's still unprofessional. We wear masks now, so yeah, but I still, if you're not wearing masks, I would take out any facial jewelry just to be professional. Be prepared to walk for that interview that you're going to go to on campus. Maybe you can wear scrubs because you already did the first. Once you do the first interview, you kind of got one foot in there if you get a second one. I'm pretty sure they won't mind you just wearing scrubs because you're going to be walking around. But if you do you do not wear scrubs, just wear comfortable shoes, because again, you'll be walking around and the units are big sometimes, and you don't want to be looking like you lazy or you don't want to be there when your feet when you do want to be there. It's just that your feet hurt because you're wearing the biggest heels ever. I think I touched on the most important things and what I did. If I missed anything, again, please comment if you have any questions. Subscribe, like, follow me on Instagram at @SignedAngelJanae. It's gonna be right there on the screen. I have more videos coming for you. I think the next one I'll do is what I prepared. I'm getting prepared to start that job, and then I want to do like transitioning from bedside to nurse practitioner, but I can't obviously do those until I start. So once I start, I'll have some of those, and I'll kind of show y'all some of the stuff that I've been doing since I passed, and kind of like focusing on me, self-care, all those things. But anyways, please like, please subscribe, please follow me, and comment, and please share. That's like big. Share, because there's people out there that maybe you know that want to see. So
I told you that my love for you was real. Oh yeah, yeah. You already know the feel. Oh yeah, yeah. We gon' pull up a bitch, ride with your friends. Oh yeah.